Faith is often misunderstood. Many people think it means blindly believing in something without question. But in Buddhism, faith is not about accepting ideas without thinking. It is about trusting the path that leads to inner peace. In today's world, people are constantly surrounded by stress and uncertainty. They worry about their future, their relationships, their health, and their purpose in life. These concerns create restlessness in the mind. In such a world, faith can be a great source of stability. It provides a foundation that allows the mind to remain calm, even when life is unpredictable. Buddhist faith is different from the faith found in some other religions. It is not about believing in a divine being who controls everything. Instead, it is about trusting in the wisdom of the Buddha's teachings. These teachings show us how to understand suffering and how to free ourselves from it. Faith, in this sense, is not something external. It is a deep confidence in a way of living that brings peace. One of the key aspects of faith in Buddhism is understanding the nature of reality. Everything is always changing. Nothing stays the same forever. People, experiences, emotions, all of them arise and fade away. When we resist this truth, we experience suffering. But when we have faith in the natural flow of life, we stop struggling against it. This is where true peace begins. Having faith means trusting that there is a path to peace, even when we do not immediately see it. It means knowing that suffering is not permanent, and that we have the ability to transform our minds. When we cultivate this kind of faith, we stop feeling lost. Instead, we feel grounded, even when challenges arise. Faith is not about escaping reality. It is about seeing reality clearly and walking the path with trust. And through this trust, we begin to experience deep and lasting peace. Life is full of challenges. No matter who we are, we all experience difficulties, loss, disappointment, conflict, and uncertainty. These moments can make us feel overwhelmed, as if we are trapped in a storm with no shelter. But faith acts as a steady anchor. It does not remove life's problems, but it helps us face them with greater clarity and strength. One of the biggest causes of suffering is our resistance to change. We want things to stay the way they are, especially when life is comfortable. But everything in life is temporary. Relationships change, health changes, even our own thoughts and emotions are always shifting. When we hold on to things too tightly, we create suffering for ourselves. Faith helps us let go of this resistance. It reminds us that even difficult times will pass, just like the seasons. When we have faith, we do not need to fear uncertainty. Instead of worrying about what we cannot control, we learn to trust the process of life. This does not mean we stop making efforts or caring about the future. Rather, it means we stop being controlled by fear. We begin to see that peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes from accepting what is. Faith also changes how we respond to challenges. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, we can approach problems with calmness. For example, when someone treats us unfairly, we might usually feel resentment. But with faith, we trust that responding with patience and understanding will bring better results than reacting with negativity. Another way faith helps us in daily life is by shifting our perspective. When we trust in a greater path, small worries no longer seem so important. We stop getting caught up in minor frustrations and we start focusing on what truly matters. Faith does not mean avoiding difficulties. It means walking through them with a steady heart. Through faith, we find a sense of balance. No matter what happens around us, we know we have the inner strength to face it. And in that strength, we discover a deep and lasting peace. Faith is not something we are born with, nor is it something we receive from others. It is something we develop through experience and practice. Just as a tree grows stronger with time, Faith also deepens as we continue walking the path. But how do we cultivate faith in a way that brings lasting peace? The first step is to reflect on our own experiences. In life, we have all faced difficulties, and yet somehow we have made it through. Each challenge we overcome teaches us something. When we look back, we can see that our struggles were not meaningless. They shaped us, helped us grow, and brought us to where we are now. Faith grows when we recognize that we are capable of overcoming difficulties and finding peace, no matter the situation. Another way to cultivate faith is through practice. Just as a musician improves by playing every day, faith strengthens when we remind ourselves of its importance. This can be as simple as taking a moment each day to pause and reflect. When we feel overwhelmed, we can remind ourselves, this moment will pass. I do not need to control everything. I can trust in the path. These small reminders help us stay connected to faith, even in difficult times. Faith also grows through direct experience. When we follow a path that leads to peace, we begin to see the results. For example, when we respond to difficulties with patience instead of anger, we notice that our suffering decreases. When we stop clinging to things that change, we feel lighter. These experiences confirm that faith is not just an idea. It is something real, something we can trust. Finally, faith is strengthened by consistency. It is not something we practice only when life is easy. It is something we return to, even when things are difficult. When we face uncertainty, loss, or hardship, we can remember that we are not alone. The teachings, the path, and our own inner wisdom are always with us. With time, faith becomes more than just a belief. It becomes a way of seeing life, a way of living with peace. And when faith is strong, nothing can shake the deep sense of calm within us. Faith is not about avoiding difficulties or escaping reality. It is about facing life with a steady heart, knowing that peace is always within reach. Through faith, we learn to accept change, to let go of unnecessary worries, and to walk forward with trust. It is a quiet strength that stays with us, no matter what challenges arise. Throughout this discussion, we have explored how faith helps us find inner peace. It is not something distant or difficult to achieve. It is something we cultivate in daily life, through reflection, through practice, and through experience. With time, faith becomes a part of who we are, guiding us toward a life of balance and clarity. Each person's journey with faith is unique. There is no single way to develop it, and there is no final destination. It is a lifelong path, one that deepens with each step we take. Sometimes doubts may arise. Sometimes challenges may feel overwhelming. But even in those moments, faith reminds us that peace is never far away. It is always present, waiting for us to recognize it. Before ending, I want to express my gratitude to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen and reflect. Your presence, your thoughts, and your support mean a great deal. To those who have liked this video, subscribed to this channel, shared their thoughts in the comments, or contributed through super thanks, I deeply appreciate your kindness. It is through this connection that we continue to learn and grow together. May your path be one of peace. May faith be a light that guides you, even in uncertain times. And may each moment bring you closer to a life of harmony and understanding.